Living with schizophrenia isn't easy, especially when you're not getting relief from some of your symptoms. It can be hard when you're still dealing with symptoms, like hearing voices or seeing things that aren't there. And negative symptoms, like feeling unmotivated or avoiding social situations. If this sounds familiar, it might be time to talk to your healthcare provider and explore a different kind of schizophrenia treatment. Discover your possibilities at treatingscz.com.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Yang Hansen hits Summer League with a bang. Caleb Love also shines. And Deandre Ayton says all the right things in Los Angeles. Welcome to the Blazer Focus Podcast. I'm Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and Oregon Live, joined by Craig Birnbach. Craig, there is excitement in Rip City, baby. The new Yao Ming / Bill Walton / Shaq / Jokic is in the house. Fans are giddy. They can't help themselves but to be overly excited about the debut of Yang Hansen. Ooh, I should get praised for being able to say that. Okay. We're going to talk about that and Caleb Love and Ayton. But first, Craig,
yes,
you said you had something to say about Summer League.
No, well, I'm just saying.
Let's start there, because before we both have views on Summer League. I want to get those out of the way to sort of segue into our views on Hansen's performance. So give me your impression.
Here's the thing about major props to the NBA for making Summer League what it is, because it's not about the games. It's not just about the games. As a matter of fact, when you go there, it's barely about the games for so many people.
Right.
But they have figured out a way to make something out of nothing adjacent. So right. I'm not going to say that Summer League means nothing, but I will say it mostly means next to nothing, like nothing adjacent, the games themselves. That said, when it's a reason it's like a huge reunion /
networking festival,
right? Like says conference, says networking,
party,
social dynamic. Yes, all these things, and yay, because I've only been a couple times, but it's awesome. You turn around and like, oh look, the whole Blazer team is watching. You're like, they must care. Like, no, they're getting some workouts. And they're hanging out.
They care a little. Stop.
No, they do, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's the NBA.
They're not there for the Summer League games. They're there for everything else. Then they'll attend a couple games, right?
Yes, because hey, all right, my team's playing. Let's go, and good, and it helps. And you get the interviews because these games are televised. Let's just say, if you didn't pay attention to Summer League at all, which is about 90% of NBA fans, no. Probably 98%. Not us, because I watch Summer League because it's on TV. You would nothing that happened in Summer League would impact your season. You know what I mean? Like if you were like,
unless it's an injury. Unless it's an injury.
Right. But even then, unless you're a bad team, it barely does. Like the Knicks Summer League, I'm not paying any attention to it. They're awful. See, I just said I'm not paying any attention, and now I know if they're good or not. So yes, I am paying some attention. But like, you're looking at best case scenario when you're watching these games. The range is for players that are going to actually play any significant minutes. It goes from 0 to 2. Like that's it. And 2 is very rare that you have two players that
you mean for your team, each individual team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And it's mostly 0.
For all the good teams, it pretty much is.
Yes. So if you have a first or second round player and you're watching Summer League, your eyes should really be drawn to those players that have been drafted. because Summer League has even expanded to the point now that this is really a place for guys to get overseas contracts that don't have them. It used to be if you had an overseas contract, you might play in the Summer League to see if you can advance that and get, but those guys aren't even playing in this yet, really, that much. It's mostly NBA guys that have been drafted that might be two ways, that might be in their second or third year, but their first or second year. And if they're in their second year and you're playing in Summer League, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. You either got hurt or you're
super young.
You're super young.
I'll give second year.
There's not a lot of second year players that you're like, oh, they're good.
It depends how young you are. If you came out 18, 19, I could see.
But there's not a lot of them.
Right.
There's not a lot of them.
Well, Shaden didn't go back. Scoot didn't go back. Klingon didn't go back. Right.
Because you're like Klingon. You did just fine, dude. You did fine. We don't need you playing in Summer League. Well,
and those three could probably still use the work, but what's the point? Like, it's not.
But also the work that they need isn't in Summer League.
Exactly what I'm saying. Because they need work, but
yes,
the Summer League is not where they're necessarily going to get better.
They might get hurt because it's chaos at times.
Right.
And it's not they get better run if they're playing 5-5 in their arranged games with other NBA and NBA cusp players.
Or even just at the facility if they do anything there.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if they live in LA or if they're in Arizona or they're in New York, they know where to go to get the run they need and also where it'll work best for them. So, but that being said, I still like Summer League, like to watch it and enjoy it. And I love watching social media and those, because when you see those people that are so focused in and excited, you're like, those are fans, man. Like, I want to be around those people, like, because they care. And they also somewhat know they're being ridiculous if they're with it and they know that. Because look, if Summer League meant anything significant consistently, Nate Robinson be in the Hall of Fame, Jared Bayless would have a banner hanging from the ceiling at the Moda Center, and Nick Batum would have never played the NBA, and he's going on year like 19.
The Blazers won it a few years ago with a group of guys that hardly ever any of them are still in the league.
So, but that said, you get to watch basketball, and for the Blazers this year specifically, even Klingon, you got to see him in college. You have nothing other than YouTube highlights. So it's extra special to watch him play, and we'll talk about that. But that's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean, it's not like Summer League doesn't mean nothing, but it's nothing adjacent. It's pretty close.
Yeah. And look, the draft, people get excited about the draft, and you don't have to wait 4 months to see the new rookies in action. So if you're a fan, you can watch your shiny new rookie play in 2 weeks. That's fun, period. Whether the guy turns out to be good or not. Now, the last time I got excited for the Summer League as a fan was probably when the when the Bulls took Patrick Williams. I kind of want to see him play. But even then I was kind of like lukewarm. But the last real time I got kind of pumped up was 2014 when the Bulls took Doug McDermott and Tony Snell, because they were flamethrowers from deep. And I watched those guys and the game just lighted up from downtown. And I was like, oh man, we got shooters. Neither one of them became a star in Chicago, clearly. But at the end of the day, that's just what the NBA is anyway, because very few guys can actually come out of any draft and be good because the math just doesn't support it. It's only 30 teams, only 5 stars, only 150 roster spots or starting spots. So 60 guys get drafted. It just doesn't math. So you're going to have a lot of failure, but it's still interesting to kind of sort of watch guys. The problem is people take what they see in the Summer League and act like it's the game 7 of the finals. It's almost as bad as in the NFL when a quarterback goes out in a preseason game and throws for $140 and 2 touchdowns. Everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to be amazing. No, No, it was vanilla defenses. They played cover 3 the entire time. It's a bunch of guys who never played together. Half of them are going to be cut the next week, and the quarterback's throwing vanilla. Like, it's not what you think it is. So let's segue from that into Hansen. So Hansen went from the NBA world just crushing the Blazers for making this pick, which you and I had some reservations, but I, more so than you, said, hey, they did the scouting. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, blah, blah, blah. He comes into the Summer League. The first thing he does is he throws a bounce pass to a cutting city for a dunk. And all of a sudden, Hall of Fame.
Greatest pick ever.
Oh, my God. Can you believe? It's like, dude, if he can't see and make that pass, he shouldn't be playing in China. Like, it was a nice pass, but come on. It was wide open. I just believe any NBA player should be able to see that and make that pass. But it was nice. He had a couple other nice passes as well. You know, he had a dunk. He did some things. But now I'm seeing people just go completely off the deep end. And it's like, no. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I know I get labeled as that. I just try to be a realist. So 2 games, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Nice. 4 blocks. Okay. 8 whopping turnovers, 1 of 5 from 3. He looks slow. So
let me just say something. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. He's 0 for 6 from 3. He banked it from the top of this.
He called bank. I'm giving him that. I think he called it. You don't think he called it? He still would be 0 for 5 because that counts as an attempt. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he called it. But
he made it, whatever.
We know he didn't shoot well from 3 necessarily in China either. So all I'm saying is, he didn't look like a bum. Okay? But let's not get too excited just yet, because there was some guy from Memphis who had 18 and 14 or something. I looked him up. He was an undrafted guy 2 years ago. Lyles, who I think was a second round pick last year, at 20 something points, I think, led Memphis, but didn't even play in the NBA. Last year in the G League, Bryce McGowan's averaged 28 a night. He's probably maybe going to be on a roster next year. I don't know. But my point is that I think he showed some nice little signs, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here, because he wasn't competing against anyone who's going to face him in the NBA. And the only thing I would say that's alarming is that he definitely is slow. So you have 2 slow-footed centers. And some people are like, oh, can they play them together? You know what? If you played them together on offense, they could probably do some interesting things if one of them learns how to shoot, right? Otherwise, no. But if I'm facing them and they're both on the court, oh my God. Run. You run them right out of the gym, which we can go back 30 years and find the blueprint for that, because when the twin towers of Olajuwon and Sampson beat the Lakers in the West Finals, they went out and drafted AC Green and started him at the 4, primarily because they knew they could run Houston to death the next time they played them. And that's what they did, not in the playoffs, because they didn't meet again in the playoffs, but the regular season they did. So that's how you combat that. So no, they're not going to play together. But anyway, I'm just saying right now I'm giving him a B- because of the competition and because of the 8 turnovers. It's been okay, but I'm not over the moon. I'm not thinking this is, the Chinese Jokic nonsense. People need to stop that. Like, Jokic can actually score at an elite level. This kid right now cannot. Your feelings?
Yeah. Look, Von Wafer in 2007, my first summer league experience, had 42 points in a game. And we know what he did in the NBA. So of course, here's what this is what I'll say. It was what you would, if you're the Blazers, that first game especially was best case scenario in the first half. You know what I mean? He looked like he knew how to play basketball. You know what I mean? Right. But yes, I look at the stuff and people go nuts. Oh, did you see the spin? I'm like, look, yes, in summer league against a 6'9" guy who doesn't play in the NBA, spin all you want, but you are not going to spin like that in the NBA. He's going to try that with Donovan Clingan, who's, the same age and slow and out of shape like he is, and he's still not going to be able to do it because he's going to run into a wall. Right. And the guards are going to reach in, and say, oh, I would like that basketball, sir. Thank you very much. And take it. There's a reason why you don't see that. Deandre Ayton, if he wanted to, would score 40 in a summer league game now. If it was that way. I mean, but the passes are nice, and he looked like he looked comfortable at the top of the key looking for his teammates. He called things out. He worked off the pick and roll. It was nice, but then some stuff was not nice, and he fouled like he should foul in a summer league as a 20-year-old because you can, and get them while they're free, go for it. But like he admitted that he's out of shape.
Yeah.
And he's not, and he can't rebound strong enough.
And
that's in summer league, man.
Issue. Yeah. And the pace is an issue.
And that he's going to have to, and that's summer league, which is nothing compared to what he's going to play against. And guys are going to be better that he'll see in practice. So hey, it was fun to watch some of that stuff. And look, I liked his smile. I liked that the way he respectfully questioned the referee's calls, just by smiling, putting his hands up. And then they show the replay and you're like, oh no, you fouled him. You can't hit guys like that. But look, summer league's hysterical. Look, I watched the NBA, the ESPN coverage, Mark Jones, who I like a lot, and Tim Legler, and did you watch that when they had Billups on?
Right.
And the interview was like they were acting like the Blazers were on the cusp.
Oh, I know. They do that with everybody.
I was like, they're like Shane Sharp had a great year. I'm like, what? What? Chris Murray? Talking about Chris Murray? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? But, they're filling the time. They know that the basketball is not that interesting, so they want to talk over it. Obviously, Tim Legler and Billups worked together for a year. It just made me – that's what the summer's for. Ultimate optimism, right? Just go – let's think about the greatest things that could happen. But the interesting part was about him talking about Drew Holiday, how excited he was to have him. And they didn't talk about what we need to talk about is like, and now what? And now what? Like you drafted, a 20-year-old center out of China that is not going to be a difference maker this year. If he's a difference maker at all, bravo. You traded a 26-year-old combo guard for a 35-year-old, point guard with a 21-year-old starting point guard. There's stuff that I wanted to know. Like I wanted Chauncey, all right, you got Drew Holiday and you have Scoot. We've talked about them individually and how awesome they both are. And then you talk about Sharp and how great he is. So what you going to do with that? What's next? How are you going to make this work? And what's the plan? And what other moves might there be? So Summer League doesn't solve that. But I don't know. I mean, I thought that it was the first half of Summer League was a perfect encapsulation of Summer League. They went out to a 40-point lead, and then it got within 8. And then, and no one cared. And then the second half, they blew it open, and it was terrible basketball. But I'll watch the rest of it, and I'll be watching him. That's what's kind of cool is there's someone to watch. Last year we wanted to watch Klingon. This year we want to watch Hansen.
Very true. Here's a headline on a YouTube post: "The Trailblazers are looking like geniuses, proving you wrong." And then the first comment, this kid legit potentially has the highest ceiling in the 2025 draft.
Oh boy. I don't have words.
Do you remember?
I don't have words because
listen, hold on. In 2022,
Cooper Flagg got drafted, right? In this draft, right? So he's telling me the ceiling for Yang Hansen in what he watched is now higher than Cooper Flagg, who dominated Olympic pro basketball players for in a scrimmage, and people wrote that off. It's but what they're not really trying.
Right. In 2022, wait, was it 22? Mario Cristoval's last year was 21, right? Yeah. So 2022, Anthony Brown had a preseason game with the Ravens and lit it up. Like he went off 240, 3 touchdowns.
Anthony Brown, by the way, can I just say this?
Yeah.
From my hometown, Mattawa, New Jersey. Mattawa, Aberdeen, New Jersey.
And Duck fans took to Twitter and were trashing Mario Cristobal. It was Mario Cristobal's fault that Anthony Brown wasn't better. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with you people? It's a preseason game. It was my first or second preseason game too. This is the same thing. You cannot take 2 20-minute performances in a summer league game and project this ridiculousness. It's
well, if you did, game 2 wouldn't be as good. Like, you'd have to. You went from 5-time MVP to he might play.
But here's the thing, Craig. If he played like this in a real NBA game, we'd all be like, okay, yeah, that was below average. Get him out of there. Get him out of it. You can't have your backup center giving you 8 turnovers over 2 games. That's just not good. And anyway, so we're not. And here's the thing: people go, "Oh, being negative." No, we're not trying to trash him. We're realistic. He looked solid. He looked like a potentially good young center, 7'1", 250, nimble here and there. Looks like he can develop a shot.
Nice hands.
Right,
nice
3
hands.
or 4 years from now, he may be shooting 37% from 3. That'd be amazing because then that makes that passing even better. Nice hands. Not afraid of contact, Got physical in there. He's mentioned how it's clearly more physical than it was in China. That's going to keep getting, going up and up when training camp comes, when preseason and the regular season. But I just want Blazers fans to just be realistic about this right now. And if you believe he's going to be great and all-star, that's fine. Everyone has their guys they want to project. But let's not take what we saw these first 2 games and go, oh my God, he's that dude, because that's not what we saw. We saw a definite NBA prospect make some plays in one of the lowest levels of NBA basketball there is, period.
Yeah, it is the lowest level. Because the developmental league's better than this. I mean, we've seen that.
Are they all? Well, yeah. I'll say.
I'm just saying, like, this is it. This is, you don't get NBA logos on uniforms in organized games at a lower level than summer league. You just don't. But that just says how high the level is. These guys are still great. Like the NBA is the 0.00001%. Right. This is the 0.000, 2 to 4%. And it's a big difference because Kevin Durant doesn't play in summer league for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, but I say go crazy, have fun. That's what the summer league is for. Ultimate optimism, hope. But I promise you, if you skip 3 summer leagues, you could still be a pretty good NBA fan and not lose. Like, you didn't lose a lot of data, because it's just not there. It doesn't transform. And some of it has to do with, if you're a big man, like guards can, like Von Wafer can have 42 because he was a guard and had the ball. It's sometimes you could be really good. You could be the best player on the court and not be able to show it because the 4 guys around you aren't good enough to make it work. So you can't have a nice pick and roll if the guy can't pick and roll with you. If you throw a perfect pass and he blows the layup, that's not on you. And if you're a center and there are 4 guys who can't shoot, you're not going to be able to do anything, So you can't always evaluate the talent based on that person's talent alone. It's what's around him and also how they decide to game plan. In summer league, if they want to showcase a dude, Jared Bayless was a perfect example. When the Blazers drafted Jared Bayless, they were like, prove that we were right. And he dominated summer league. And he did. He dominated summer league, but he played in the NBA. He was a lottery pick. He had an NBA career. I don't use bust on him, but what people were saying about Jared Bayless from what they saw in summer league with the high hopes is not what you got from a Jared Bayless career, because guess what? In an NBA game, they didn't think that game planning him as your primary guy was a good idea because he wasn't that dude. So, but enjoy summer league, go crazy, take the ups and downs, because if you're watching summer league, you deserve that. Like, cause that's the kind of fan you are. And I don't mean that like you deserve it like in a bad way. I mean, like you deserve it. Like you care enough to watch summer league and like try to find things that matter. Right. And that's that's what it is. But I will say, when you go in summer league and you're there, or even on TV, you should be able to see who was drafted first or second round, just with your eyes, just watching enough NBA games to say, oh, okay. Like if you didn't know anything and you showed up and you watched, because the 16th overall pick playing in an NBA summer league, you should be able to say, oh, there are things I see. Because if you don't,
right.
You know, like
exactly.
So that's the thing. Like even when we're talking about guys that did not play great, that are NBA on NBA rosters, you should at least be able to see, even in warmups, like, oh, okay, that guy's form is really nice from three. He doesn't look the same as that herky jerky thing. And the herky jerky thing works in summer league sometimes.
Herky jerky.
Well, you know what I'm saying? You see those shots, you're like, oh, when it goes in, you're like, huh, that guy made 3 of 5. You're like, yeah, well, that's not going to happen in the NBA with that, that form.
So if Yao Ming, so if Yang Hansen is the next Yao Ming, since he's from China, then Caleb Love from North Carolina is the next Michael Jordan, because Caleb Love, who couldn't shoot a lick at North Carolina or Arizona, where he plays the final 2 seasons, dropped 18 in the first game, 7 of 16 from the field, 4 of 7 on threes with 6 rebounds, and then came back with another 18, albeit on 21 shots, 7 of 21, 3 of 9 from three-point range. Didn't shoot as well in that game, clearly, but aggressive, tenacious, attacking, played defense. Did you like what you saw from that kid? Because to me, he was just as impressive as Yang Hansen, all things considered.
Right. And again, I would expect him, what is he, 23? I mean, he's, he,
5 years in college.
Yeah. He played 5 years in college, and he was a really, really good college basketball player. You know what I mean? Like, so I would expect him to be way better than the guys that were not really, really good college basketball players. And some of them who didn't even get, for circumstances, didn't play in college, or he looked better.
And all the kids who are under 21 in the summer league that he should be able to dominate, unless they're, a top 10 pick.
Right. And he's not afraid. He's played a lot of basketball against a lot of talent that's better than the summer league talent. So he didn't go in there and be like, oh my gosh. He wasn't surprised by the physicality. He wasn't surprised by anything. And he looks good because he's a really, really, really good college basketball player. And that's what happens when, like, Drew Timmy's going to be good in summer league. You know what I mean? Like, because he's a really good college basketball player. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a great pro or a good pro, but we know why. Look, if he could shoot, if he shot the lights out in college, he wouldn't have played 5 years. He would have been, first round draft pick.
If he shot 44, 37, well, here's the other thing to think about. He's not 6'4", man. So I think that hurt him as well, because everything I saw showed him a 6'4" until I stood in front of him. And I'm like, I don't even know if you're taller than me, bro. And then I saw a combine. They had him listed like 6'2" and 3/4 or whatever. So that hurts him as well. But yes, if he shot 44% from the field and 37% on threes, he's a top 15 pick probably, given everything else he brings to the team, especially defense.
I mean, a huge recruit.
5-star kid, yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why, but when you shoot 39, he shot 34% last year from 3, and he shot 39.8 from the field. Like, that's why he went in the second round, because
he didn't go at all. He's undrafted.
I mean, undrafted, right?
Yes, signed a 2-way.
I'm sorry. He was a free signee after the draft. That's why. Right. I mean, it's not because people don't think he's a good basketball player. They just don't think he's good enough. Right. But he has a chance, because things change when you become a pro basketball player. Now as a 5th year player, all he did was play basketball too. So it's not like that much different, but being a part of a college program, people make fun of the fact they don't really go to class. They don't do this, but they do. And they have to do certain things. And once you're a pro, all you do is work on your game with the best mentors and coaches in the world. And that can transform you quickly. So he has that chance. But yeah, I did read somebody say, like, Caleb Love coming off the bench for the Blazers is going to be a problem. I was like, is it? Like, I hope so, but like, it's too early to say that because we don't even know if he's going to be coming off the bench for the Blazers. Like, he doesn't have a guaranteed spot on the roster, and he's going to have to earn it by just blowing people away because he's on a summer league roster with a dude that barely played and has been on the team for 2 years. So, in repair. So, like, that's another example of, you could see the difference between a guy that played in the NBA, but then you can also see why he doesn't play consistent minutes because his second game was pretty awful. So, but look, his job is to do what he did, is look better than the rest of the summer league, players, and shoot like he did in the first game.
All right, moving on to a former Blazer. Statue for Deandre Ayton, you think, or no? Wait, no. Okay. All right.
Bobblehead. They probably have a bobblehead, right? Did he have a bobblehead?
So Deandre Ayton gone for nothing. They're going to pay him $25 million this year to play for the Los Angeles Lakers, who gave him a 2-year, $16 million deal with a player option for the second year. What a deal for the Lakers! Wow.
Absolutely.
Now, everyone can say what they want about DeAndre, but when he wants to play, he can play. He can play at a big time level. And he helped the team go to the finals once before in Phoenix. He was a big part of that. And now he's in a winning situation again. I don't know if you caught the press conference of his introduction in LA. He says all the right things. He said all the right things. Specifically about the Blazers, he pointed out that, hey, they're going in one direction. I prefer to be in a winning situation, which was exactly what my thing was when they got him, was like, okay, if he couldn't find the energy to give 100% with Chris Paul, Durant, and Booker, why is he going to do it in Portland? And of course, he didn't in Portland, but when he did, he was really good. Now he's going to LA making far less money over the course of the 2 years, not this year, because this year he's making the exact same amount of money he would have made in Portland, pretty much, minus $2 million. But he's in a situation where he's playing with two guys who are elite passers, and they need a big guy, and he's going to be that big guy. He has a chance to make himself a lot of money this upcoming season because he can opt out next year should he play well, or when he becomes a free agent in a couple of years, playing alongside Luka. Now, the Lakers are going to have a boatload of cap space starting next offseason when they move LeBron off the books and a bunch of other people, right? So they can go out and make a lot of moves around Luka, around Austin Reeves, and maybe around Ayton if he delivers. So my question for you is it finally going to click for this guy? Is he finally going to show up and be a professional adult, given that now he's experienced losing and what comes with that, and now he's back in a winning situation, or at least potentially, and the rest of his career is on the line? Because if he doesn't show up and show off, the NBA might show him out the door anytime, sometime in the next few years. So what do you think? Is he gonna turn around right here? Is this it?
So here's the thing. He will be 27, like in a week. Like he's
still
not.
He's still a puppy.
I'm just saying he's been in the NBA for almost like 1, 2,
7
3,
years.
4, 5, 7 years. When people say he's garbage, even garbage, he's averaging 16.4 and 10.5 a game
on 55% shooting.
I'm just saying, like, I know. The problem is that all the stuff that happened now that, people they bury behind him what he's like in the locker room. I mean, for Phoenix, his last year in Phoenix, and I said this how many times to you, like he averaged 18 and 10, and they said, no, thank you. Like they said, I'll take a lesser talent. I will knowingly trade a guy that I know is way better than what we're going to get in return.
For the record, they blew that though.
But I'm just saying though that yes,
but still the decision was, it's why they did it, not the fact that it backfired.
It was the epitome of addition by subtraction in their opinion. And you know how, I'm just saying, you got to be really disturbing for a team that drafted you first overall, and you averaged 18 and 10 and shot 59% that year. I mean, he averaged 18 and 10 and shot 59%, and they said, please leave. So it's not about the talent. It's not. And the Blazers thought, okay, we'll make him kind of the guy. And when he's the guy, he'll act differently. That was their thought, right? He went from a situation where he had 2 stars, multiple stars, and vets being like, dude, you want to win a title? We're there. We're there, dude. Just get your head out of your tuchus and let's go. And the Blazers like, well, if we kind of we give him the vet role and say, hey, and then it didn't work. No. It didn't work because they gave him they're paying him $25 million to not.
It
play
worked for 3 weeks.
I mean, whatever they said.
When they won 10 of 11, it worked that stretch. He was dominating, but that's pretty much it.
But what I'm saying is like people don't doubt his abilities.
Right.
And he's put up numbers. And they're not like people would say, oh, they're not real numbers. You shoot 59%. Like it's hard to shoot better than that. Like it really is.
It's not, it's not like he's getting 20, he needs 28 shots to get 18 points.
Right. He's got 7 for 20 at the center position. Right. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. And his mid-range, if you're a Blazer fan and you watched him, you cannot walk away and say that guy does not have one of the best mid-range games for a big man in the NBA. It's money. So the Lakers are saying, well, it's free, basically. You know what I mean? Like they
don't have anyone. Jackson Hayes, that's all they got. So why not roll the dice?
And Jackson Hayes can't play offense at all, but he can play defense. So, and you're about to get, you are not going to be double covered. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're going to work that pick and roll all day with 2 of the best in basketball, a GOAT. And I'm not going to get in the argument, but there's an argument the greatest player to ever play the game.
There's no argument, but he's on the list of GOATs. I'll give you that.
Okay.
So let's just stop right there. Stop right there. Let's not go sideways.
We don't want to do that today.
Let me pull out my Jordan stuff behind me.
Sure, he's not in his prime, but he still put up numbers, and he obviously has the highest. He still has the highest basketball IQ. Yeah, okay, that's fine. His basketball IQ is elite, to say the least. He's going to play with 2 guys with elite basketball IQs.
Yep.
So I don't see if he can't make it there. It's like the opposite.
Can't make it anywhere.
He can't make it anywhere. Like you know what I mean? Like that's it. Like, and this is another great opportunity. But to me, like if he puts up 18 and 10 on this team, people aren't going to be poo-pooing it. They'll be like, oh.
Well, if he's playing the right way. The thing with him is not numbers. It's playing the right way and doing what you're being asked to do. If it's 18 and 10, but defensive lapses and, messing up things on offense because you're just killing possessions, but you still get 18 and 10 because you're so talented, that's the problem, right?
I just don't think he'll get what I'm saying is he won't get the minutes to do that if he's doing the things you're saying. Well, because they won't put up with it.
Yeah, okay, that's my next point. So there are empty calorie stats, as we all know.
Yes.
Whiteside, great example. Right? I took over the beat when he was still on the team, and dude led the league in rebounds and block shots, and the Blazers couldn't wait to get rid of him. Right? Yeah. Sometimes not all stats are good stats, but here's what I think could happen with him. This could be his Rasheed Wallace moment, in that Rasheed never embraced in Portland being that guy. Rasheed Wallace should have been 27 and 12 or 13 a night. He should have been right there with Duncan. There's nothing Duncan can do better than Rasheed Wallace. And Rasheed Wallace was probably a better defender, if not as good, and could shoot the 3. He was like probably the first ever true stretch 4,
baby.
Right?
Stretch 4.
But he didn't want to be that guy.
Well, he was stretch 5, but he wouldn't allow him to play the 5.
Right. He just was content sometimes going out there and just, he's 17 and 9, whatever. He's a team guy. No, you should be dominant. He didn't want to do that. So then he goes to the Pistons, where they didn't expect him to be dominant. Here, they want him to be. There, they didn't. And so he slid right in, right, and played his role and helped them win a championship. But what he did that's different than Ayton is that he didn't rock the boat. He didn't mess things up on defense or mess things up on offense and make it all about him or be a malcontent. He was coachable. He allowed Chauncey and others to lead him, and they got the best out of him. So I'm wondering for Ayton, going in this situation, numbers be damned, just do what you're asked to do. If you're supposed to crash. Don't camp out and wait for the ball and then mess up everyone else trying to slash the basket, which is what Chauncey would complain about him doing with the Blazers.
Yep.
And later in the season, he started doing what he was supposed to be doing and getting out of the way sometimes. Be aggressive on defense, man. Make an effort. You don't have to be Gobert, but don't just let people go down the lane and dunk. Get in the way and be disruptive. If he does those things, they're going to be pretty damn good with him. And if he does that, he resurrects his career. And he's in a position where he can do all of that. He doesn't have to be 28 and 12, which he should have been at some point in his career because he has that kind of ability. He was number one pick for a reason. You don't have to be that, but just be an efficient, coachable basketball player because JJ Redick will cuss you out. Right? Yes. If he does the things he's done in the past, JJ Redick will call a timeout and cuss you out. And you won't have anything to say because LeBron will be cussing you out with him, and so will Luka. So hopefully he figures it out. I like the kid. I had some good interactions with him. I wish him the best. I think this is a great spot for him.
Yeah, and I think the fact that I know you're old, but you didn't call Damian Lillard a kid when he was this age because of the mentality. Like, and some of that is
right,
where he's
acting like an adult. He was acting like an adult. Right. Dude, Damian's, I'll never forget this. Damian Lillard sat there in the press conference after losing, I think, game 4 to the Spurs I can't remember. They lost to us. The first year they beat Houston, they played the Spurs. They lost a home game, so it must have been 3 because I think they were down 3-0, then 1-4. Anyway, he sat there at what? So that was his second year in the league, so he was like 24. He sat there, and in a press conference, I was just blown away. It's like, there's no way that guy's 24. There's no way he's 24. He sounded like he was 44. So yes, I never referred to him as a kid like that.
That's what I'm saying, but that's part of the problem, right? Like CJ also, you didn't refer to him as a kid, when he was in his 7th year in the NBA.
Right.
And that's kind of where you're at with the immaturity. I mean, the Rashid thing, the thing with Rashid was he wasn't, he made decisions that were not about being immature, but they were about being who he was. Like, he didn't want to lift. There's all those stories about him not going to the gym. But Rasheed Wallace is kind of an amazing career because his numbers are not good. Like when people are shocked, I say, go look at Rasheed's numbers. I mean, Rasheed averaged 14 and 7 for his NBA career. He only got to 20 points, I think, 1 year with the Hawks. I'm going off memory, but like in my brain and in everyone's brain, like he was an offensive, he could score because he could. And he could do things that he chose sometimes to not do. And he was such a high, recruit and played at North Carolina, all that. The thing that with Ayton that's frustrating is that people see it and they don't understand it. like why he won't mature and why he won't see because he's in great shape. Like, that's the thing. Rasheed was not in great shape a lot of the times. And so it's not about that. That's the funny thing is Luka's not in shape. Like, that's the big thing. Like, he doesn't care enough to get his body in shape. No one says Deandre Ayton's not in great shape. Like, they're not like, he can't handle the minutes, and he just can't when he's on the court, do what coaches want him to do and what really good players want him to do. So, yeah, I mean, to me, the Lakers situation is if you're DeAndre Ayton and you truly believe what you say, which is you want to win, and you want to be in a situation where your skill set helps contribute to a winning team with teammates that will lift you up, well, guess what? This is as good as you're going to get probably, and play significant minutes, right? I mean, You could go back up Denver and never play, but they actually, this is their biggest need is this piece. I mean, they traded Anthony Davis to get Luka. They blew up their situation of having a star big man. So it's there for you. I don't put the odds above 50% that he's going to do it. I would put it at 60-40 that he's going to struggle and there'll be an issue. But I would put it at 2080 anywhere else. Like, I think that he has this is the best situation for him.
I think I'm going to go 60-40 the other way. I believe in redemption so much. I think a lot of people figure things out at some point. I did not think the Blazer situation was going to be good for him. It just didn't make any sense because he wasn't going to somehow turn things around in a losing, rebuilding sort of wacky situation. But here's the thing about Luka that I will give him credit for. Daniel Gafford, former Bull, second round pick, whom they let go, by the way, goes there and in 21 minutes averages 11 and 7 in 21 minutes. That's because Luka's feeding him. He shot 5 of 6 from the field. The next year, 5 of 7. That was last year. Didn't play all year with Luka, obviously. But so my point there is that here's a guy who's not even really looking for offense, right? But he still scored 11 points because Luka's setting him up. Right.
He could dunk.
So because he can dunk. Right. And so DeAndre can do all those things as well. Yeah. The difference is Gafford gives you max effort on defense. That's why he averaged 1.9 block shots per game in just 21 minutes. Ayton probably isn't as good defensively, but he can be a lot better than he's been. So if he just goes in there and just shows up on defense, and if he never got a mid-range jumper, he's with more minutes, he's 14 and 9 without even trying. Now, if you do those things, you're going to get rewarded with some opportunities to shoot your mid-range jumper and to do your thing in the post. All of a sudden, boom, you're 20 without breathing hard because you're playing with two guys who will get you the rock because that's what they do. So he has no excuse to not get over now. And I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt that A, he experienced losing and he said himself, yeah, that wasn't very nice. You get forgotten about when you're losing. B, he's in Los Angeles with the Lakers. It's like the perfect situation to be in if you want to resurrect your career and become a star again. And C, this year he makes all his money because of the Blazers, but next year he's only making $8 million. Now, we say only, but if you go from making 35, you don't want to go down to 8.
Well, that's why it's a player option.
Right, because if he plays well, then he can try and get more. But my point is that that's out there now. Like that's like you could only be making 8 next year. And then after that, you're going to get what? The minimum. You could go the way of Whiteside. You could be that kind of guy. Because if you can't get it done with them, who's going to take you? Yep. Who's taking you? You've proven you can't win. You've proven you can't play real basketball with Chris Paul, Durant, Booker, Luka, and LeBron. And you got a taste of losing and couldn't elevate that franchise. You can't elevate a franchise. And you can't play with some of the greatest 5 players in the last 30 years in the NBA. You're done at that point. So I'm going to say 60-40. He figures it out. Come on, DeAndre.
I mean, look, I hear what you're saying. There are also a few distractions in LA. So you do have to worry about that.
I want to go there.
I'm just saying, like, that's why I'm 40-60. I mean, to me, I have a lot of, I put a lot of weight into what players say about other players. So that's where my weight is that when Durant and Booker say certain things about your effort and why you're not with them anymore, I put a lot of weight in that.
Yeah.
Chris Paul hates everybody, so I don't put as much weight. I'm just kidding, I'm just saying but those are demanding guys that were
right.
That said no. Not
and the Blazers as a franchise said, not only said no,
said here,
we'll pay you $25 million to go away. Right. So
that we could draft a 20-year-old who has zero chance of averaging 18 and 10. Like Klingon has no chance of averaging 20 points a game in the NBA. I mean, and that's that's not a dig.
Right.
I mean, there's very few centers in the NBA now that are going to average 20 a game, that you don't see, as real 3-point shooters or at all. I mean, it's just not what the NBA is built around anymore. And they were like, nah, we're good. Please leave. And we will just pay you to leave.
To pay you to go away. Yep. Okay. Finally, last thing before we leave, let's segue from the fact that they got nothing for Ayton to the fact that the only real additions they've made are clearly through the draft and then Holiday and the trade with Anthony Simons. Now, I like that trade with Ayton still around. The fact that that's all they've done so far and Ayton's gone, to me, they're worse. So are you alarmed at all that they have done nothing else of significance? Teams all over the league are making moves to get better. It seems like every team in the West got better, except for Portland, if you want to pretend that losing Ayton and Ant and bringing in 35-year-old Holiday at $34 million a year makes you better, which I don't believe it does. So where are you on that? Because I just don't know what they're doing, man.
They got rid of their two best offensive players. I mean, like that, is there even an argument?
I mean, you can make the argument. Denny's second half, you can make that argument.
Okay, but I like that you're doing that. I appreciate that.
Scoot when he's on.
No, but I mean, there's two guys that have averaged about 20 points a game in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like you just got rid of them. So, and you filled it with a 35-year-old point guard when you have a 21-year-old point guard that you want to take off. So, no, I don't get it. You know, I've said it I didn't understand. I did not like the Simons move. It didn't make sense to me for that to get I would have rather, traded him for a first-round draft pick. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand why you want a 35-year-old point guard. Like, if you had a 35-year-old 4 or a 5, like, I would get it. I don't get why you went and traded for the position that has been the easiest for you to get. And that exists more at that level, and he's teetering down. It's going to cost you more money. I mean, to have him and Grant together on this roster making that kind of money does not make sense to me for a team that you say you want to win now, but you're not going to. Like, you're not going to. The West, look, even in the East, this team would not be really good. I'm sorry.
Stacked, dude.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't understand what they're doing. It doesn't mean, but I also don't expect them to solve it this year because of the ownership. I feel like they're making moves that we can't know everything, clearing money from certain places. But I'll say this for Scoot and for Sharp. The runway is there, my friends. Like, they have cleared the runway for you to please take off. Because that's where this team is at right now, where they're hoping that Denny's for real, but Denny stepped up. So if he just plays like he did last year
in the second half,
good.
Second half.
Like in the second half,
right.
Yes, of course, when he got the opportunity. But there's no way this team elevates to anything of significance if these guys don't take off.
And the problem is you need Denny to continue what he was doing in the second half. He's had one good half a season in 5 years. This is be real. The fourth year in Washington was solid. I mean, it's okay on one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, it's just, wow, he's 14-6, big deal. Anyone can go 14-6 on a 15-win team, okay? That's not impressive. So he's had one good half a season. I think he's going to be good. Like, I think he's going to be able to duplicate that second half of the season. I'm not worried about him. You need Tamani to continue to develop offensively, but he doesn't have to, right? If he's just a 3-and-D guy, you're fine there.
He is
you
what
have
he
to
is.
get You have to get Scoot, Shaden, and Klingon to all make leaps. Like, you just have to. They have to be significant leaps because losing Ant and Ayton, and some people have brought up some analytics stuff, whatever. I think sometimes that stuff's overrated. But here's the deal. In the second half of the season, they went 23-18, right? We talked about that. They had that stretch where they won 10 of 11. In that stretch, Ayton and Ant were their best two players. 19-12 for Ayton, and Ant was 25-5, shooting 46 and 43 from three-point range during that stretch. Okay. After that, they won 11 games the rest of the year, or 12. Okay. And we talked about this numerous times. I went and looked it up.
Yep.
The next, after the 10 and 11, they lost 4 in a row to Minnesota, Denver, Clippers, right? Then they beat Charlotte, Utah, Washington, Brooklyn. Lose to Cleveland and beat Philadelphia. 5 of these worst teams in the league, all in pure tank mode. Those were those 5 wins. Those wins mean nothing in terms of projecting what they're going to do next season. Then they lose 5 in a row. Then they beat Toronto, Washington, Memphis without Ja Morant, and Denver without Jokic. Now, granted, still,
everybody.
Those are still 2 good teams. They beat those. So, okay, but still, their best 2 players weren't there. And the other 2 teams are tank teams. Then later in the season, Atlanta, that was a decent win. Toronto, tank mode, and San Antonio. So the vast majority of your wins outside the 10 of 11 when Ayton and Ant were your best 2 players, you have maybe 2 legit quality wins. The rest are against teams either that are horrible trying to tank and or we're missing their best players. So there's a little bit of fool's gold in that 23-18 in the second half. And it all comes down to that 10 of 11, and the 2 main guys from that 10 and 11 are out. And you got nothing for one of them. Nothing for one of them. And anyone out there who's thinking right now,
not just nothing, it costs you.
It's going to cost you money. You can't. Yeah, exactly. You can't even use the money. It's just dead money.
You can't use $25 million.
Right. So
that's a big hole.
And this was one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA last year. There was, I think, 26th or 25th in 3-point shooting, and you lost your best pure scorer. The only guy who can really create a 3 and hit one is Ant. Right now, you got other guys who can hit knockdown wide open threes, but that doesn't happen all the time. You need guys who can hit tough threes as well. So unless they go out and sign some shooting, to me, there's no way they're better than 36 wins next year. Unless you get lucky and a bunch of other teams have injuries and you play the type of schedule where you feast on a bunch of bad teams later, something like that. But just straight up and down right now with the rest of the West and even teams in the East, this is a team that might be 30 or lower unless everyone we just talked about just takes a huge leap forward. So I don't know what they're doing at this point. It just drives me nuts every time I see another team. Dorian Finney-Smith, perfect fit for the Blazers. It'd be amazing to get that guy. Now, would he want to come to Portland? Probably not. He wants to go win. But regardless, Houston went and got that guy. So they traded for Durant, right? Losing Green and Brooks. And then they go out and get a guy who can replicate a lot of the things defensively that Brooks does and shoot it better than Brooks. That's a winning move. The Blazers aren't making those kinds of moves. So I'm alarmed, man. I think they're going to regress. And you know how I feel about regressing with a new owner coming in. Unless the new owner turns out to be, from China, then hey, they're going to love you. Because that's one of the conspiracy theories out there, by the way, that the new owner's from China.
I will say, and we haven't talked about it, but I've been talking about it with others that picking, when you really think about it, picking Yang Hansen at 16 and moving back, business-wise, is a really good decision. I mean, all the summer league games, the Blazers were on TV in China. A few people live there. A few billion people. There is a lot of money to be made.
A few billion.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, it's a smart business decision to do that. If you're going to weigh, the risks, rewards, I respect that decision, and you can't ignore it. That, as you said, the 16th overall pick, odds of them being a contributor, it's not great. The odds aren't in your favor. So you might as well get a whole country, a large country to, and there's no other Chinese professional players right now picking in the NBA that are doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a smart move, but
it doesn't hurt.
It does not hurt.
And you still got a first round pick to mess around with. Trade that thing. Trade that bad boy. Let's go. Make some moves.
The one thing that I, consistently when you speak to people like we have it at the front office level and successful ones, and they look at teams and franchises, is there's always excuses for why your team is not winning.
Right.
Every franchise can come up with a reason why. It's the good teams that figure out how to not use those excuses and get better. And the Blazers have had 4 years now to start moving in the right direction. And the biggest keys to that, to going up, are your 3 lottery picks. And,
Amen.
I feel like that's it. I mean, that's what they've done. They've said, here's the runway, take off. I mean, I'm not going to expect much from Klingon, because I think Klingon is going to be what he's going to be. Like, I think he's going to be solid. He showed that last year. He gets in better. Now, look, if he can't get in better shape, he's going to be a bust. You know what I mean? Like, but what he showed, like, I don't think he's going to score 20. And he's not going to, but he's going to get 10 rebounds, right? If that guy plays 30 minutes, I promise you he's going to get 10 rebounds if he doesn't get hurt.
And a couple blocks.
Yes.
And
so
set some nice screens. And if his 3-point shot comes along, poof.
Well, now
you got trouble.
That last element is the icing, right? But the cake to me is there. But you have to get Sharp's got to he can't shoot 30% from three, and he has to be consistent. He cannot, he can't be another year of potential. And Scoot's got to be a starting point guard in the NBA at least. And if you really want to be a contender, he's got to show you John Morant-like stuff. And I'm just picking a guy because you just mentioned, but he's got to be a cusp of, I see something, not just spurts of a 10 game here or there. And I don't look. Of course, if he shoots 38%, that changes his game. But to me, he was drafted on athleticism, and an NBA body like that. He was going to be superior because of where he was at 19. And to me, he has to show me Derrick Rose pre-knee injuries. It wasn't like Derrick Rose was shooting 38%.
Right. He
won an NBA MVP because athletically he was better than the best.
Right.
And that's what we thought that's the name. The Derrick Rose was the name. Like, you could shoot 34, 35% if you could be Derrick Rose. And you can. I mean, Derrick Rose had an NBA career post his legs not working because he was that gifted. And so I just think that, like I said, they have said, here's a runway. Because if they have another plan, then they're not executing it. Because to me, they've cleared the way, to say these guys have to play. Because even, Chauncey was talking about Drew Holiday, and at one point he had to say, like, and we still think he can ball. You know what I mean? Like, he had to remind people, like, he's not coming here to be a coach. Because everyone's like, well, you got two 21-year-old guards. Like, what the heck? And so it's not like they can't trade Drew Holiday.
If he's not an impact player, if he comes here and he's a backup, then they're truly screwed. I've said it from the get-go. There's no way he's coming here to be a backup. Like, to me, there's no way. But if he is, they're done. If he's not better than Scoot and/or Sharp, you're done.
See, to me, the only plan that makes sense is that, yes, he comes here, he starts for a little, and Scoot and Sharp are just pushing for more and more minutes. And then you're trading Drew Holiday to a contender for a first-round draft pick. It doesn't make sense any other way. Like, it just doesn't. Like, what? He's going to play 32 minutes a game and you're going to split the other 2 minutes. Scoot is not a 2. I'm sorry. He's just not. He has to be a 1. He has to play the 1. And I know you say you split these minutes and then you move Drew over to the 2. Drew is a lead guard.
Drew can play 2. He can play the 2.
But that's not what he is. Like, at best, he's the guy with the ball making people better because he's not a great shooter anymore. So
he had an off shooting year. He can shoot. You don't lose your ability to shoot. You just sometimes have off shooting years. Okay. His shooting will come back. Steve Kerr can walk out at 60 and drain threes all day. You don't lose that skill. You're not going to lose that skill. Who?
Right, but I never thought of Steve Kerr as a lead guard. I thought him as a really, really short 2.
But you were talking about shooting.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
I don't shoot anymore. I don't believe that he lost his ability to shoot.
I'm just saying he's
had
not
an off shooting year.
They're already he's a lead guard. He needs the ball. I mean, that's why the Celtics got him. You think he's a 2?
The Celtics didn't necessarily run him. Like, he wasn't like the true lead point guard.
I'm just saying your goal and hope. To me, the best case scenario is your 21, 22-year-olds are pushing for so many minutes that you say, thank you, Drew. Where would you like to win your next championship? Do they have a first-round draft pick for us? Okay, thank you. And we go that way.
And that's fine. But I still think they have to win next year. See, we're like, we talk about
different. But they're not gonna.
We're talking, and that's the problem.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying
like more pieces to go with Holiday.
And what are they going to get? How are they going to get him?
I know.
How are they going to get him?
They have the mid-level. They got money to spend. They got mid-level. They got the biannual. They got trade exception. They can do stuff. Just get a couple of 6'6" guys who can shoot it, man. Just
that's
get one.
That's every NBA team, right?
But yeah, they don't have one. There's got to be one you can go get. Isn't Kispert still available? You know, someone
Look,
like that.
I'm just saying, like, the things we thought they were going to turn stuff into, they sent Simons out. They didn't get that.
They got 35-year-old guy. Ain't nothing for Ayton, and they can't.
Who plays guard?
And they can't move Grant. It's a disaster.
Right, so I don't know where you're getting this from.
It's a disaster.
All right, I love how he disagrees with me, and then he comes around and lands there. Like,
we agree on that part. It's just what the goal is. To me, the goal has got to be to try and win next year. You're saying the goal is to be to try and trade him, and I just don't know if the GM and company are going to be here with a new owner coming in if they're losing. That's my thing. If that wasn't a thing, if the team wasn't for sale, I'd be looking at this completely differently. But clearly they're not listening to me, so whatever. We'll see what happens. All right. Man, we pulled an hour out of that. I was like, what are we going to talk about?
Well, we love it.
We do. All right. Thanks for listening to the Blazer Focus podcast. We're going to let this Summer League thing play out. We'll be back with another review. And just to be clear, we're not trying to dump on Yang Hansen. He looked like a solid kid in the first couple of Summer League games, but let's everyone slow their roll on acting like he's a future star.
Take it in.
Exactly.
Enjoy it.
Later.